What's going on out there, Caniac Nation? Thanks for joining us for session 59 of Caniac Sessions. I'm Griff.
I'm AB.
And I am Brandon.
And we are finally gathering again tonight. It's been a while. So let me be the first to apologize to everybody. Is my mic okay?
It is.
Okay,
Sounds good to me.
Sounds weird for some reason in my headset. Anyway, let me be the first to apologize to everybody for the long break. If you followed us this time last year, I don't know if you have or not, but this is a busy time of year at work for me. And I got a ton of kids that have to go places and this and that. It's high school football season, all that good stuff. So trying to line up time between my schedule, AB's schedule, is challenging sometimes. However, here we are.
We're here.
Boys, how we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Also, I want to apologize for not being very active for the podcast. Unfortunately, I lost my dog of 14 years last week, and I'm in the process of moving. So I'll be, the next time that we do a live stream, I'll be in a new place.
No closet.
So you won't have to look at the closet door anymore. So I've been busy with that, but yeah, very excited.
Right on. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. AB, my family sends condolences, the two-legged and the four-legged parts of it, because
thank you, man.
You know how much I love my dogs, how they're family to me. Even the annoying rat that occasionally guest stars with us that is completely involuntary on my part. But, you know, it would absolutely kill me not to hear him barking. So, otherwise, yeah, I'm great. Griff, you remember when we were in the military and we had to eat really fast sometimes? You had like 5 minutes and then you had to get back to doing whatever you were doing. That's what I just had to do.
Oh man, you could have hopped in a little bit late.
It was all good. I wanted to get on here and everything while everything was fresh in my mind, because you and I are gonna have a very interesting discussion tonight. I'm looking forward to this.
You had to go to Chow.
Yeah. Luckily, it got brought to me basically because Desiree took care of that for me and everything. But
right on. All right. Well, hey, thanks for hopping in. This is our 2024-2025 season preview, right? So we are going to talk about everything that is going on right now. There's a lot. We're going to try to dissect it, dive in, talk about it, discuss it. And just have a good time, give some predictions, and then we'll get up out of here after that. But before we get going, first things first, we are brought to you by someone new this week. And if you look up above me, we've got a new sponsor. We are brought to you by DraftKings and Gametime. Other way, AB. There you go.
Yeah.
As a member of the Hockey Podcast Network, THPN for short, check them out. We are a small part of that network. Shows for every team that you can think of in the NHL, AHL. There's AHL pods. There's just all kinds of stuff out there to check out. At the hockeypodcastnetwork.com and at hockeypodnet on X. So check them out. And our season preview. So the season's underway. Sorry, drew a blank there. The season is underway. We kicked off the NHL season in Prague. I say kick off. I don't mean kick off. I guess drop the puck on a new season in Prague. The New Jersey Devils and the Buffalo Sabres played 2 games out there. Jersey won them both. No shocker there. But something that's funny is Steph Nason ended up being the first goal scorer. Why did I say change?
What's messing up?
Both y'all froze for a second. He's still frozen. I can hear you, AB.
I'm here.
There we go. Now I got everybody.
Yeah.
I think my internet just flashed on and off, but yeah, in true Steph Nason, what's the last thing y'all heard me say?
Something about Steph Nason scoring.
He was the goal changer.
Yeah, the goal changer. Yeah.
The goal scorer, the first one, right? So in true Steph Nason fashion, right in front of the net, and gets on the board. So that started the season. Then we had a few more preseason games, and then last night, as of recording, on the 8th of October, last night we had 3 games between the Kraken and the Blues. Then you had the
Panthers and the Bruins,
and then
and Utah and the
Club.
Blackhawks.
Yeah, Utah Hockey Club opened up their inaugural game, which was awesome if you got to watch it. I watched the first period before I had to go to bed, but it was.
I had their goalie on my fantasy team, so
there you go.
Got a little bit of points.
But it was a good scene, man. They showed out there. I'm excited for Utah and Salt Lake City, but in that game, Utah won, but go figure, the first goal scorer for the Blackhawks won Teuvo Teravainen.
Oh, was he actually?
Yes,
Yeah.
He scored the first goal of the season for Chicago on a feed from Bedard. Oh,
Whatever.
Look, I give credit where credit's due. Beautiful pass from Bedard, like insane pass, and Turbo is just right there to kind of put the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
Put the puck in the net. Man, I'm all over the place.
There's the changer, there's the ball in the hole.
Look, we got football going on. We got the MLB playoffs going on. We got hockey starting. I'm all over the place, so bear with me.
MLB playoffs ended for me last week.
Bedard had, I know. Yeah, well, believe me, I'm an Orioles fan, so
we both got clapped pretty much simultaneously.
So Bedard had 2 assists that game. Is Turbo still wearing 86 for the Blackhawks?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering.
Yeah. So anyway, we got some more games tonight. There's a game going on right now as we are doing this stream, and Carolina will finally get going Friday night at home for the home opener against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
We will discuss that, but let's go through some recent news. I feel like there's a lot, and I may have, I was trying to put it all together today, and I may have left some things out. So if you guys remember something that I didn't list here, feel free to jump in. And I'm just going to kind of go down each one of these news items, and we can discuss. But first thing is Skylar Brindamore, son of Coach Rod Brindamore, signs a 1-year, 2-way contract. I thought he had a good preseason, a good camp. It looks like somebody that can really, provide depth. And the thing about him is he's a center. And this organization is not deep down the middle, as deep as we'd like to be. So he's going to be a good guy in your system, play in the AHL. And I thought he earned that contract. I joked when we first found out he was on a PTO. I put that little tweet out about Bronny James and Skylar Brindamore with the handshake, saying getting a job because your pops works there. But
it's kind of true. So
well, I mean, look, he was going to find a home in the AHL either way.
No, I'm talking about Bronny.
Oh well, Bronny, yeah, definitely. He's not. Yeah, whatever. That's a different discussion. But if Skylar Brindamore is going to play in the AHL, I'd rather it be for our team, just because who he is. So I'm all about that contract. I don't think we'll ever see him in Raleigh.
Nah, probably not.
I think there's a few guys in front of him. But
update: Canadians are up 1-0 on the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, that'll change.
I've seen enough. They're making the playoffs.
That'll change. All right, some more news items here. Bryce Montgomery signed a 3-year entry-level contract like the other day. And because of that contract, it created like a bunch of confusion with the initial roster that was submitted, with Jackson Blake getting sent down to the AHL, and then he got called back up, and we'll get to all that shortly. But just going down through these news items, Sam Gagne and Rocco Grimaldi, who were here through camp on professional tryouts, were both released. I haven't seen if Gagne signed somewhere. I'm assuming he did. Maybe he didn't.
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything else about him.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, Chief.
I'm sure he'll find a landing spot if he wants to play in the minors. I'm sure he'll find a spot in the minors. But
he can go overseas and play too. Like somebody will pick him up. Like he's still pretty good.
Yeah, I thought he played great.
I did too.
I thought he played good enough. Go ahead.
if we had had a need for him, I think that they would have signed him.
Yeah. I mean,
That's true.
I thought he earned, a contract, but I think that, like you said, there's not a need, especially with the emergence of Jackson Blake. All right, keep continuing on. Spencer Martin was the first round, the first individual from the team placed on waivers. I think that was a strategic move to try to get him through waivers before teams were really looking internally and saying, hey, we could use a goaltender. So they pushed him through waivers. He cleared and sent down to Chicago. Also, Ryan Suzuki, Josiah Slavin, and Ty Smith were later waived for the purpose of reassignment to the minors. They cleared. Then breaking news today, which I didn't expect this, but Tyson Yost was placed on waivers as well. We'll find out tomorrow at 2:00 whether or not he clears, but I'm not sure I expect him to clear. I think somebody's going to pick him up.
It'd be funny if Buffalo did.
Yeah.
I if I had to take a guess of someone who would claim him and actually needs him, it could be Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but I don't expect him to clear. But you never know. I mean, maybe he will. We'll see.
This time of year, though, I'm sorry.
No, interrupt. Go ahead. You're good.
So like this time of year, though, like, and we saw this a few years ago with Martinook, even after when he got put on waivers back in 22, it was 2021, the 21-22 season. Even with the year he had before that, where he was kind of bad, if anybody was going to get claimed in recent history, it was going to be him, because even when he's not doing well, Jordan Martinook typically does not make a team worse, as we have seen with him playing for us. So I don't think anyone will claim Yost, because just this time of year, it's like a mutually assured destruction type of thing between the teams. Nobody really claims anybody unless they just absolutely need it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. I don't. Out of the recent round of players that have been put through waivers for the Canes, I would expect that he would be the one to get claimed if somebody was. He's got NHL experience. He's a serviceable fourth liner. We'll see what happens. If he does clear, he will be sent to Chicago to join the Wolves. So speaking of joining the Wolves, several players were assigned to Chicago in the AHL. That list is Ryan Suzuki, Josiah Slavin, Skylar Brendamore, Noel Gunler, Juha Jaska, who really impressed me. I'd love to see that guy. I was pulling for him. I thought he had a great preseason. Bradley Nadeau, Justin Robidoff, Gleb Trikazov, Felix Ungersorum, Ty Smith, Dominic Fensor, Alexei Himosami, Charles Alexis Legault, Scott Morrow, Ronan Seeley, Spencer Martin, Ruslan Kavayev, whatever, and Yaniv Peretz. So that is your individuals assigned to Chicago. And what a team. What
very good team. I mean, there are a couple of guys you listed that could have easily made our main roster. One of them was Felix Ungersorum, because, man, he had a great preseason last year. He was pretty solid this year, and they're working him at center right now. And there are videos of Brendan Moore teaching him how to take faceoffs. So he's very close to making it. And then Justin Blake has been Jackson. I'm thinking of Poirier, because the guy that scored a bunch of goals.
Yeah, you're good.
Blake has been phenomenal, and he definitely deserves to be on the main roster. And we saw Yost go down into waivers, and I assume that he's going to go to Chicago. But yeah, you have Peretz, who's a solid goaltender, who once probably Freddie retires, eventually he'll probably be up there as your backup if Spencer Martin's not here. Suzuki, man, he just hasn't lived up to his potential. And I want that guy to do so well, but it's just back and forth. And then
Iwasami,
he's going to be a force. Give him a year, and he's going to be really good. So there are a couple of guys there that you could easily put on an NHL roster, but it just goes to show what Tulski has done and the front office has done of creating that roster in the AHL and drafting these players for the future.
Absolutely. I may have to renew my AHL TV subscription this year.
Oh, good news about that though. It's on Flow Hockey now.
Oh, really? There's no AHL TV anymore?
Which I get. Okay, so Flow Hockey, it's like that's actually how I watch the Marksman games. They broadcast the SPHL and the FPHL and the ECHL and a bunch of other leagues. And then there's also like Flow Baseball, Flow Racing that falls under this umbrella and everything. But the cool thing about it is like I get that every year anyway, so I can watch Fayetteville play. So
Gotcha.
I'll be able to watch it anyhow. So I'm looking forward to that so we can keep an eye on the prospects. Now, I was particularly impressed with Charles Alexis Legault.
Yes.
Now, but you also know that I'm a nerd for it. I'm a nerd for that type of player.
Yes.
So it's like everything that kid did impressed me, even when he was doing stuff that wasn't particularly flashy. For a stay-at-home type of defenseman, very smart when he does have possession and when he moves it up ice.
Was he that guy who held his own against that 6'6" dude in a
McCarron.
fight?
Yeah, he fought McCarron and he got his face bloodied, and I'm like, yeah, I like this kid.
Yeah, but he didn't fall down.
Nope.
That's
And
right.
that's a tough
That's the
customer.
best.
McCarron is. That's one of the last people I'd want to drop the mitts with.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't. This prospect pool, man, like it's crazy to me because it's so deep. There's so many. I don't, a couple of years ago, you sit here and thought like, man, do we even have any prospects that could really make the NHL roster someday? And obviously, there's no. But like today, I look at this, this Chicago Wolves team, and I'm like, man, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that legitimately have a shot at the NHL, and like some of them are like could eventually turn into high-end NHL every night players. We could just go down a list and name them. I mean, it's just, and it's crazy because you see teams that have prolonged success in the NHL, and usually they're trading away a lot of their picks and prospects to try to, get these assets at the trade deadlines to try to make a cup run and this and that and whatever. And, I'll preface what I'm about to say with the fact that, yes, we haven't won a cup. However, this roster management has been second to none.
Yep.
The fact that we have made the playoffs, 6 years in a row, and we still have this prospect pool is insane. And it hasn't been like, making the playoffs and getting beat the first round. No, there's like 2 Eastern Conference Finals runs. There's, second round. We haven't lost a first round in the entire streak.
Thank God.
Right.
Yeah, and
so it's just crazy to me.
One of the contributing factors to that, I think that a lot of other front offices, let's say that they were in the position we were in when we were trying to get Timo Meier from San Jose. A lot of front offices would have offered up Nikishin and not thought twice about it to make that happen.
Yeah.
We attempted to trade for Elias Pettersson, and Nikishin was not part of it. As frustrating as the slow burn thing can be at times with the prospects and all that, or with the keeping the prospect pool loaded and consolidating as many draft picks as you can and all that type of stuff, it pays dividends. It's a painful process, but it does pay dividends. We still have, out of the top 40 prospects in the league, Carolina has at least 6 of them. And that's before you count Nikishin.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Tip of the hat to the management, right? Don Waddell, Eric Tulski, Darren York, all these, these guys that have, especially Darren York, man, he's something. He's going to get a job somewhere soon. But yeah, just I can't wait to watch Chicago play. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I will say, picking up about what Brandon said, I'm very proud of the management to not go ahead and trade the rights to Nikishkin, because, man, that guy is so good. And he's probably going to come over here next year, but if you were to trade him for Elias Pettersson, you would have gotten Pettersson immediately, in my opinion, at least. So
Yeah.
they're holding out on a guy that has a ton of upside and is going to be a force in this league.
Yeah,
Hot take,
definitely.
he'll probably win a couple Norris trophies.
I mean, what you're looking at with this team is give it a few years and potentially nearly every single player on the roster could be homegrown.
Yeah.
And if you do
Absolutely.
that, you have a cup window that's as open as long as your youngest player is effectively. So if the youngest guy on your roster is 22, you probably have an 8 to 10 year cup window. So it's like we could potentially go win a cup and not even have to worry about renegotiating anybody else's contracts. Wouldn't have to worry about trading anybody. Wouldn't have to worry about anything because we would already have everybody locked down and we know exactly how much money they're making for years to come. Like, this is a good position to be in.
Yeah, that's what a lot of go ahead, Griff. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say you expect teams that are in a rebuild mode to have prospect pools this deep, not a team that hasn't had a pick within the top 12 for years. So just great draft strategy, great way to go find these guys. And yeah, just that's all I got to say about that. I can't wait to watch Chicago play. So
I agree.
A couple more news items, and then we'll get going here on the roster and all that good stuff. But the initial roster was submitted to the NHL initially 2 days ago at the 5 p.m. deadline. And on that roster did not include Jackson Blake initially, right? So there was all this discussion about, Jackson Blake's from Chicago, what's going on, this, that. And then Jackson Blake was assigned to Chicago, but that proved to be a paper move. They just needed to figure out, I think the Bryce Montgomery contract was kind of what was, they wanted to get him signed and, he would have taken up some cap space. So they need to get him signed and sent to Chicago. Once that happened, that made enough room for Jackson Blake. So, yeah, but anyway, they recalled Jackson Blake from Chicago to Raleigh. I don't think he ever left. And all signs point to him playing Friday night on the opening night roster. He was in the group of 12 forwards stay at practice. So I think it's safe to say Jackson Blake, rookie, Hobie Baker finalist last year in the NCAA with North Dakota, has made the opening night Hurricanes roster, at least for now. We'll see what happens, how long he sticks. I expect him to. I think he's going to be great. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Jackson Blake. But real quick, we've been talking about all summer that we thought Bradley Nadeau was the guy. I'll be the first one to say that I screwed that up. I thought Jackson Blake had a chance, but I didn't think he was the top one. Brandon, good call. You called Jackson Blake. No, I don't really agree with where you're putting him in your lineup, but
we'll get to that. Don't worry.
But yeah, you called it. So good call. And and then session 58, our last session, I was like, there's not going to be any rookies that make this team. And then here we go. Look, I'm batting 1,000. So,
well, I said that I wanted Unger Sorum. I thought he was going to, but he's not ready. Blake has clearly gone beyond expectations. The one thing that makes me mad, and this may be a hot take or not, I really don't know Ethan Robinson's game. I love
Eric
Robinson. I love Brendan Lemieux. Like, I think he should be on that fourth line.
I mean, he may be. He's hurt right now.
Is he?
Yeah, he got hurt in the final preseason game. Rod announced today after practice. So he was in street clothes during practice today. And that was before Tyson Jost got put on waivers. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, Lemieux's in street clothes. He's going to get waived." And nope.
No, but I also said this to you that Robinson's on a $1 million deal, so I don't expect him to go to the AHL. So I guess most likely opening night he's going to be.
We lost AB.
We did.
But I'll just keep going here. I think Eric Robinson's fine. I thought he's a real good skater. He's fast. I think he's fine. I think he'll be fine there. And then, if you play a team where you need a little bit of heavier presence, then you bring in Lemieux and sit Robinson.
Yep, he's gone.
Yeah. He just texted me too.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say here? Let me see what he said.
He's got to go downstairs and get on his phone probably and rejoin that way. That's what he did that one other time.
Computer crashed. I'm coming back. All right. AB, buy the higher internet speed. It's okay.
No, it's because of the closet door. It's too thick. It's messing with his signal.
All right. But yeah, I think the roster's fine, and we're going to get to the roster. But before we do that, we're going to go through these initial comments, and then we're going to get to our sponsors, and then we'll finish up. We've got BTS, not the band. He says, "Yellow. Hey, dude. Thanks for hanging out tonight." He says, "Hope you got y'all your work done." By the way, TWT.
I know what he's referring to. I'm almost done. It will hopefully premiere tomorrow night. This is like one small fraction of the notes that I took about the Shea and Goss to spare thing.
Oh, I can't wait.
I am more convinced that I'm right now than I was before.
He says, "By the way, I changed my name on X because I'm working on stories. It's still me though."
Oh, okay, cool.
Then he says, "I've made a decision. Sean Walker is my favorite Hurricane."
You're going to like him.
I like him. Pops is with us. He says, "Hi, guys."
Hey, Pops.
Hey, Pops. And then he asked you if coughing was better, which you replied in the comments and said it is. Great.
Yeah, it's significantly better. I can actually say several sentences before I need to cough now, but it's pretty much gone. Like, I've been going to the gym and everything. I feel fine.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are going to get into more of this discussions, but before we do, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. And our new sponsor, Gametime. We all know the excitement of watching hockey live. There's nothing like it. Watching hockey on TV does not do the sport justice. Being there in the building, feeling the cold of the ice, hearing the puck slam the boards, the roar of the crowd, the goal horn, all that stuff, there's nothing like it. It is second to none. I remember being in the building this past year in the playoffs. I think it was game 2. Watching Carolina come back from a horrible start and come back and win that game and score like 3 goals in no time to finish the game against the Islanders. What an experience that was. And it was all made possible because I bought tickets. So Gametime is going to help you buy tickets. It has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. I've used Gametime before, right? There's the super deal that you can find, and it's totally worth it. You can customize your spot in the app if you download the app. So yeah, check out Gametime. There's the lowest price guarantee, right? Or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if it is not the lowest price available, right? There's also all-in pricing, right? You can toggle this feature. It shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. You can also get full panoramic views from your seat in the app before you buy the ticket. So you need to check it out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, let me bring Brandon back here. AB hadn't jumped back in yet. You got me, Brandon?
Yep, I got you.
Oh, look who just popped up.
Brandon, do not talk crap about the closet. I am moving right now. So.
Oh, boy. All right. So AB's back with us. Got through our ads, AB. You missed that wonderful Gametime ad read.
Oh, dang.
You have to go back. You have to go back and listen to it. All right.
You know I will.
So let's get into these rosters. Okay. The 2024-2025 roster is set. And if you look at the practice lines today, we kind of see how it's going to take shape. And really, it's kind of, we saw it take shape during the preseason in a lot of ways. Your forward group is going to be Jack Roslovic, Seth Jarvis, centered by Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Martin Necas, centered by Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Jordan Martinook, William Carrier, centered by Jordan Stahl, Eric Robinson, Jackson Blake, centered by Jack Drury, and then Brendan Lemieux as a healthy scratch as of right now. Again, he's injured right now, so he was not practicing today. The defense, no surprise here, Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns, your first pairing. Dmitry Orlov and Jalen Chatfield, your second pairing. Shane Gostisbehere and Sean Walker is your third pairing. And Stillman looks like he is going to be the seventh defenseman. I'm blanking on his first name.
Riley
Stillman. I keep wanting to say Corey.
It makes sense why you would want to.
Right. I think I've seen a guy named Corey Stillman before, but
and they wear the same number too.
I know it's crazy. A little bit of nostalgia here, but Riley Stillman will be your seventh defenseman. He's currently injured as well. We'll see when he returns, hopefully maybe for the road trip. And then your goaltenders, Freddie Anderson.
Ugh.
Now, AB. And Pyotr Kochetkov. Now, Corey Lavalette tweeted out today from practice that Freddie Anderson was in what is normally the starter's crease at practice today. Now, before we start trashing Freddie, he's not a bad goalie. Okay? We want to trash him for the playoffs. Let's remember what he dealt with last year. Okay? Mm-hmm. First of all, do I want to see Pyotr Kochetkov get the start? Yes. However, I was listening to Adam Gold today on his show, right? And he made a good point. Maybe, we as of right now, we've got a game Friday and Saturday against Tampa. Now, whether or not that happens Saturday or how they change it, we'll see. But if you remember, Pyotr Kochetkov played very well in Tampa.
Yeah.
This preseason. Mm-hmm. Now, could it be that Rod gives Freddie the game against Tampa at home, and he saves Kochetkov for game 2 in Tampa? When I say game 2, I mean the second game of the season. That could be the case. Maybe he wants Kochetkov to go on the road, and I think that's fine. I think that makes sense. But I still want Kochetkov to be the guy for the season but I still have faith in Freddie. I don't think Freddie's bad, but I think it's time to let Kochetkov take the brunt of the workload. Your guys' thoughts?
AB, you there?
AB's having all sorts of trouble. You got us, AB?
Nope. Yeah, he's gone again. So that actually makes a lot of sense because, you get last change at home. You don't get it on the road.
Right.
Would you rather have, if they consider Kochetkov the better of the goalies now, would you rather have him in at home where you have last change and he's likely not going to have to see as much rubber anyway? Or do you want to have him on the road where he's probably going to have to work a little bit harder for the Hurricanes to win? So it makes sense to me why they would do that. However, I still don't. I mean, they can't plan for this, obviously. I don't think that game on Saturday is going to happen.
I don't either.
I highly doubt it. They're going to have to reschedule it.
Yeah. I don't either. I don't think it's going to happen. I kind of hope they play it here on Sunday.
Yeah, and then you can just reschedule the third game we were supposed to have with them to later in the season.
Or just tell Tampa tough. Okay, so you get one less home game.
Then we can play them 3 times in Tampa next year.
Yeah, whatever works is fine. But I don't expect them to play the game Saturday. But if they do, for whatever reason, if they get on a plane and go to Tampa, which, I mean, if they do, then I would expect Kochetkov to get that game, and I think that makes perfect sense. But just going down through here with the power play lines today at practice, it looks like power play 1 is Aho, Jarvis, Natchez, Svetch with Shane Gostisbehere. Second power play is Jackson Blake, Jack Drury, KK, Jack Roslovic, and with Brent Burns. I think that second power play unit is better than we kind of thought the second power play would be coming into the season. We didn't really think we would have a second power play. But, I think that first unit is everything you could want it to be.
I love that first unit. The best part about that first unit, Gostisbehere, one of the best power play quarterbacks in the game. Has some of the best vision you could ask for. The best part about that is with the forwards, you have 2 right-handed shots and 2 left-handed shots, so you don't have to load up all your shots on one side. That's one of the issues I felt like the Hurricanes had in the past was they'd load up units with 4 lefties and 1 righty, and it didn't really allow for all the scoring opportunities you would get if you have a more even distribution of that type of stuff. So I'm really, really happy about that first unit, and the second unit ain't nothing to sneeze at. They'll have to find some chemistry and everything because those guys are not super familiar with each other. Blake is new. Burns is going to be quarterbacking different guys than what he quarterbacked last year. Roslovic, new. It'll take Kokaniemi. We don't know exactly what he's going to do yet. I'm pulling for the kid to still have 50 points, but that unit can be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's a lot better than we thought it would look like when we started losing the guys we lost. But especially Steph Nason, that guy was good on the power play as well. And then Turbo,
yes.
that's hard to replace in the power plays. But I think it shakes up pretty well. I think we'll see how it works out. They had good power play last year. Good, and one thing I know is still going to be strong is the penalty kill. You could see signs of brilliance in the preseason. The penalty kill is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think AB's back
again.
And AB is from his phone this time.
No, this is my computer. I'm going to throw my other computer across the room.
Film it when you do.
Sure.
I'd like to watch that. A couple comments here. Pop says PK and Martin need to be our 2 goalies.
I don't know about that.
Spencer Martin's a fine goaltender.
He's not going to be a backup if Freddie's here.
Well, right, but he's saying Freddie needs to kick rocks and go somewhere else.
I agree.
AB, come on, man.
Sorry.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think Freddie Anderson is still better than Spencer Martin.
I do too. I think Freddie will be fine in the backup role just as long as he doesn't have to start more than 35 games.
Rod's going to start him.
Well, while you were having your connectivity issues, we actually discussed why that might be happening. Let's say in theory the game on Saturday still happens. if I think Kochetkov is the better goalie, which I do, I would rather have him playing on the road where you don't have last change. And you need your goalie typically to do more for you to win on the road. That's statistically proven. So
plus he just played in Tampa like last week.
Yeah. So he's got the gears turning there.
That's true.
So, I mean, if you have back-to-backs, each of them are going to play one. You know, no matter who's the 1A or 1B or whatever. So, we'll see. He's got another comment that says I have a feeling we're really going to miss the guys we lost in free agency. I mean, yeah, you always miss them, but we're going to get into this. I don't think we're as bad off as a lot of people expect us to be. The metrics out there and a lot of the predictions and projections still have us very high. There's some models that have us first in the Metro. Possession metrics always win the day, but we'll talk about that. All right. So the upcoming schedule, right? So we've got Tampa Bay for the home opener. We talked about the return of Jake Gensel to Raleigh. I don't expect him to get any like kind of big video or anything. They'll just announce him and we'll boo him.
Everybody's gonna boo him if they announce.
No, what everybody should do is go
snake.
Yeah, that's what they should do. Just
I'm gonna say stuff that is not family friendly.
Well, we expect that out of you, AB.
Stop. You're mean.
So anyway, so yeah, if that happens, or I'm sorry, then we are scheduled to play like we've been talking about in Tampa Saturday night. We don't no info yet. NHL hadn't put out anything. The team hadn't put out anything on whether or not that game is, going to be rescheduled or moved to Raleigh or we'll no info yet. I'm assuming we'll have something within the next 24 hours. They're going to have to make a decision. Plus, landfall of Hurricane Milton is tonight. Yep. So we will have a good idea in the morning of the extent of the damage to Tampa. And real quick, prayers are with everybody down there, man. It's going to be bad.
Absolutely.
Especially because they're just recovering from Helene.
I also saw that it split into two on the news today. The center of the hurricane split. There's another part that's going.
The eye wall regenerated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, will we play it? Will we reschedule it? No update as of yet. We'll see what happens tomorrow. And then after the current scheduled back-to-back, Tuesday night, back at home against the Devils. That'll be Brett Pesce's return to Raleigh. We expect. He's been recovering from his surgery. He hasn't been practicing or playing in the preseason, but I did see the New Jersey Devils media report today that he was practicing full contact. And he's expected to play in their next game. That's the last I saw. But I expect he'll get a great video, a great standing ovation.
Oh, 100%.
Deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to suck seeing him play for the Devils, I hope we can stand up, honor him, pay our respects to Brett Pesce and all the things that he did in Raleigh, and then go out there and beat the dog breaks off of him.
Yeah, after that, it's over.
Yeah, then it's on.
Him and Steph Nason both.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah, Nason. Yeah.
Yes.
Nason too. Yeah, Nason as well.
Out of all the free agents we lost, that's the one I think I'm the most annoyed about because I look at the contract New Jersey gave him. I'm like, we could have done that.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think he wanted to go. I think he was ready to, Carolina. He kind of reestablished his career in Carolina. I think he was ready to go and see what he could do elsewhere.
I read something. I don't know how true it is, but apparently he still had a house in New Jersey from when he played there before.
Yeah.
And he liked it up there. Huh?
Of course he did.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more comments, and then we're going to get into these storylines. Casey, what's up, bud? Glad you're with us tonight. He says we will be fine. I agree. And he says boo him, talking about Gensel. We will boo him.
Heck yeah.
He won't hear me, but I'm going to boo him too.
He says we should have kept 23. He's talking about Steph Nason. Yeah.
That's right.
But we didn't, so we'll have to do without.
Wah.
All right, let's get into these. Actually, before we get into these storylines, Brandon, we have a difference of opinion on something that we're going to hash out here quickly.
And you know what's funny about it? Our rationale for it is almost identical.
So, and I'll give you props. I'll give credit where credit's due. You called it. Jackson Blake on the opening night roster. He's going to be there. You believe that he should play on the quote-unquote third line with Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook instead of playing down with Drury and Robinson. And you think he should basically swap with Carrier. I don't agree with that. I think Carrier, if God could mold an individual to play with Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook, I believe that man to be William Carrier. So I believe that you can't take a puzzle piece and just mush it into a place that doesn't fit, in my opinion. I think that that's where it's made to go, and I think that's where it's got to be just because the style of hockey he plays, and I think he's an upgrade over Jesper Fast. I love Jesper Fast, but I just think that William Carrier is going to prove that he is the answer in that position. You disagree with that, and I'll give you the floor to elaborate.
So first things first, William Carrier is massively underrated in general. You look at the guy's contract and you look at his numbers in the years where he's been injured, which has been pretty much his entire career, and you don't see as good of a player as he actually is. That is part of my rationale for wanting to swap him. Because if you put him on the line with Drury and Lemieux, for example, I think that you add a scoring punch to that line that it wouldn't really have otherwise. At that point, that fourth line, instead of it becoming more of a fourth line grinder, chip in some offense, I think that you look at that line having 20, 25 more goals over the course of the season than it would have had before. My rationale for putting Jackson Blake with Jordan Martinook and Jordan Stahl is pretty much centered around Jackson Blake's development himself. He's already got a scoring touch. We've seen that already. We saw it in NCAA. We saw it this preseason. We saw a little bit of the nose for the net he had the couple of games that he played at the end of last season. If you want to refine Jackson Blake's game over the course of the next 40, 45 games or so and potentially turn him into a top six winger sooner rather than later, if you put him with Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook, he works on the parts of his game that he needs to have refined the most, which is the defensive side of things. So with his defensive game needing to be refined, with the parts of it that need to be refined, the compete level is there. He's got that. He's a smart player. He works very hard, as we saw. That's why he's making the team, kind of like how Warren Fogle did a few years ago. So when you take all those things into account, the parts of Jackson Blake's game that need to be refined and well-rounded, I think if you surround him with Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook, he figures out that defensive side of the game, and he figures it out very quickly, and he figures out from the two best people on the team he can learn it from. And then when the time comes, you can bump him up the lineup a little bit earlier than you plan. So, both of our rationale to it is based on the lineup. It's not a matter of Blake being better than Carrier or vice versa. That's what I like about this discussion. Both these guys are good players. The reason I would put Blake there is basically, short version being essentially what I just said, make his defensive game more well-rounded. And I think he would add a little bit more offense to that line than Jesper Fast would have, at least after a few games. And William Carrier would add a significant amount of offense to the fourth line that would not be there before.
Not so fast, Brandon. Not so fast.
What you got?
William Carrier had an interview, and he said, "This is the first line that I have been on where I am not working the hardest," I believe is what the interview was, is what he commented on. That line right now needs to say the same. I understand that Blake, he needs to be with the veteran. I get that 100%. But you already have Martinook, Stahl, and Carrier working together. And if it doesn't work out, put Blake up there. But we haven't seen anything from Blake in the National Hockey League. We've seen stuff from Carrier, Stahl, and Martinook. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I do see Blake maybe coming up a little bit, but again, we just have to see.
I just think that you got a chance to have three really good scoring lines.
That's right.
I don't need Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook's line to score. Yes, they possess the puck. I get that. And I get your whole, put him there to learn. Like, I get all that. But, Jack Drury is a very good 200-foot player as well. And yet he's not Jordan Stahl. But, I think if you take William Carrier, I think the opposite. I think you take William Carrier and you put him on the fourth line, if you want to call it the fourth line, I think that dries up scoring, right? And now you've got two lines. Now you've got Jack. You're hoping that Jackson Blake can score on that third line with Stahl and Martinook, right? Which we don't know if he is or not. I mean, you're assuming, he can, but I don't think William Carrier is an offensive weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think moving him down. I think moving him to that fourth line with Drury and Robinson dries your scoring up, and now you've got two lines that aren't going to score on the bottom. So, in my opinion, you just label that Stahl line as the shutdown, checking line, identity line, whatever you want to call it. You put Carrier in there and let those dudes grab their flipping lunch pails and go to work.
Lunch pails.
You know what I'm saying? Like, go do the heavy lifting. Go out, forecheck, possess the puck, and they'll get their share. And I think put Jackson Blake down there with Drury and Robinson and let them go and play offense. Drury is responsible. I'm not too familiar with Robinson's defensive game, but if he's on this team, they signed him in free agency. I have to imagine that it's somewhat serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
Rod's not going to go out and hunt for a player in free agency if they can't play defense. So, I believe that fourth line with Drury and Robinson, if you put Blake there, I think they'll draw good matchups. And another thing is, man, the Stahl line is always deployed against the top line of the other team. They go in and play the Austin Matthews, the Jack Hughes of the world, the Connor McDavids of the world, and Crosby and Malkin, all these guys, they go in and night out and play these top players. And I think if you take Jackson Blake away from Jordan Stahl, leave him where he's at on the fourth line, they get the better matchup and allow him to let his skill shine, let his game develop, and not have to worry about forechecking against Connor McDavid. That's just my thoughts. That's why I like William Carrier on the Stahl line and Jackson Blake with Jack Drury. If you're going to have Blake in your bottom six, and you guys know my theory on that. If you're going to have a rookie, I think you set him up for success. There's really not room on the right side and the top. I mean, you're talking Jarvis and Natchez. He's not going to unseat either of those guys.
No,
at least in the next 5 years. So that's just my thought.
No, that makes perfect rational sense. Like the reasons why you're saying what you're saying make complete, absolute sense. One thing I think we should do, though, let's put a poll out after the show's over.
Absolutely.
And ask them on this very question, because I want to know what the masses think about it. Because I've seen, it seems like that the world is also 50-50 split on this idea too, just like you and I are. So I'm curious to see what everybody thinks. I don't think there's really a wrong answer to this. And I think that we see both those combinations at some point or another over the course of the season anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, if you're playing a team that you need to swap it around a little bit, that's fine. Couple questions here. Pops, does the injury history concern you any, Brandon? And then he says, with Carrier, that is.
Not really, just because the contract he's on is very, very, very team friendly.
Yeah.
Even if you LTIR him, the team still has to pay him, obviously, but he's off, he's not counting against the cap, or if they put him on injured non-roster or anything like that. But there's also been times where we've seen players that have extensive injury history sort out whatever it is and then not have to deal with it later. I'll give an example in my other favorite sport. Chris Sale had and he managed to pitch the entire season, and he did pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So it's time for bed. Get the milk.
Oh, here we go, dude.
Oh man, he said it. Oh.
Teasing Joe.
Bro, I don't know if you want to go to the next tailgate or not. You might find yourself waking up in a different part of the triangle.
I don't want to fight. No fighting. Just teasing.
All right, moving on here. We're going to have to speed up just a little bit. We're going to get some predictions here at the end. But real quick, a couple storylines that I want to, talk about as we approach the season. Just some things to kind of keep an eye on as the season go along. I'll read these off, and then I'll let you guys dive in on a couple of them quickly if you want to. But some storylines that I've kind of picked out that I'm going to be watching closely. First one is, how long does KK remain the 2C playing between Svetch and Natchez? Is he, I think it's important for him to get off to a good start. And if he doesn't, he's quickly going to find his way back down the lineup, and Jack Drury will get that position. So we'll see, how long does he last there? We'll see how long. The next storyline, how does Roslovic fit on Aho's wing? Does he last there? Is he going to be a mainstay on that line? That spot, and I've talked about it last season too. That spot's always being manned by somebody different over the last 3, 4, or 5 years. We have never found somebody as a mainstay. We thought it was going to be Bunting this time last year.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. We've seen Martinuk there. We've seen Teravainen there. We've seen Svetch there. It's just, is Roslovic going to be the guy? We'll see. Next storyline is, does Brent Burns take another step back? How will his age affect this season? Does he play well throughout the season and then crash in the playoffs? Or, hopefully they can manage his minutes throughout the year so he has some left in the tank at the end of the year, and it doesn't look like it did last playoffs. And I don't think he was horrible in the playoffs. I just think he made some key mistakes at key moments that ended up costing us games. But my next storyline is, will the Ghost Walker, and I love that pairing, Ghost Walker, will the Ghost Walker acquisitions provide more scoring than the Shea Pesci pairing? The replacement for Shea and Pesci is obviously Dmitry Orlov and Jalen Chatfield, right? They bumped up to the second pair, and they were the Orlov Chatfield was one of our best pairings late in the season and in the playoffs last year. But we don't expect Orlov and Chatfield to score at the same rate as Brady Shea. So does Gostisbehere and Walker make up for that lost scoring, which I think it will, but we'll see by just how much. How much will Shane Gostisbehere and Sean Walker exceed the point totals of Brady Shea and Brett Pesci? I know it's going to exceed it, but by how much will be interesting to see. And, what does Jackson Blake's rookie year look like? I thought to myself, what makes it a success? I don't know if there's a point total that makes it successful, more so as it is having not looking like a dumpster fire, right? Being serviceable, being able to go out there, play your share of minutes and play them well. I'm not expecting him to come out and score 20 goals, but I think he'll be over 10, but we'll see. And those are just my storylines to watch. I'm open to your thoughts.
So KK's days at the second line center position are numbered regardless of how well he plays, I think. Reason being is because, one, when Felix Unger-Sorm is ready and they put him in the 2C spot, because that's what it looks like they're going for. Instead of going out and having to trade for or draft another second line center, they've got a guy that they can convert into one. Brendamore's already done it once with Aho with great results. Felix Unger-Sorm is a very similar player, as we've been finding out, especially this preseason, how similar those two guys are. So I think that Kokoniemi is going to go into that third line role, middle six center, whatever you want to call him. And I think that that's the perfect place for him. I always saw him as a middle six center with a little bit more of an offensive upside. I think once he's in that role, all the pressure comes off of him and we'll consistently see 45, 50-point seasons out of him from there. I genuinely believe that, especially if he's back on the power play. So that's one thing. Ghost and Walker, 10 games from now, everyone's going to forget that Shea and Pesci were even here. And I mean that wholeheartedly, because does Sean Walker deny entry as well as Brett Pesci? No. Does he defend as well or block shots as well as Brett Pesci? No. But you know what Sean Walker does really well? Zone exits. He joins the rush at the right time. He's an excellent power skater. He knows when to join a rush in a low-risk situation, so that way he's not getting caught flat-footed in the wrong spot. Gostisbehere, we already saw what he did in 23 games last time. Now he's had a full camp to adjust.
Yep.
Gostisbehere very well. I imagine he's going to lead Hurricanes defensemen in points and put up similar numbers to what he did in Detroit. So I could see him putting up 55 to 60, and about 60% of those will probably come on the power play. The rest of it will come 5-on-5. So I'm like, when people were freaking out about the defense, that was the thing that I was the least worried about. I'm very happy with what they did in the with the defense and free agency. I had no idea Gostisbehere was coming back, and I had no idea we were even looking at Sean Walker.
Yeah,
but he's a perfect fit.
Absolutely. AB, I'll let you elaborate on one, and then we'll get in our predictions here.
KK's got 2 weeks.
Oh, here we go.
I'll give him 2 weeks. If
Oh,
he doesn't perform the way that I believe that he's not going to, and I'll eat my words if he doesn't, if he plays really well, but he's got 2 weeks.
Give him a little more time than that, though, because last season he played really well the first 3 weeks, and then he fell off a cliff like the Coyote in the cartoons.
He fell off more than the Arizona Coyotes franchise.
AB, what great insight and analysis.
You're welcome.
He's got 2 weeks.
He does.
We're all sitting here saying intuitive stuff, and you're like, yes, Barry Kokiniemi has 14 days or I repossess his Hurricanes credentials.
That's right.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Can't trust him.
Oh, AB, you're a trip. All right. Let me stop. Let me gather myself here. All right, predictions. So AB and I went through and made some predictions.
Yes.
If you want to throw in some off the top of your head, Brandon, feel free. So first prediction. How many points do the Canes finish the season with? So just to say that, so last session or 2 sessions ago, I remember we predicted the standings, how the standings would shape up. We both had Carolina second in the Metro behind the Rangers. AB and I did. So my prediction for the points is 108. I think we're going to get 108, AB.
105. I can't put them that high. I think they're going to drop a couple of games. I think that the Rangers will be 112. So I can't put them at 108. I can't.
Okay. Well, I think the Devils are going to be around. I think it's going to be a close race between the Devils and the Canes for second. We'll see.
I think Devils will be 102.
Maybe 108 and 105 is not that far apart. So
I actually think it'll be 102, and that the Hurricanes will finish third in the Metro, and we will see New Jersey in the first round.
Okay.
I know you do. Anyways, Griff, go ahead.
That's fine. Either way. That's fine. All right. Who will lead the team in goals at the end of the season, and how many? I believe, going with my steady horse here, and Sebastian Aho, and he's going to have 46 goals this season.
Ooh.
I have Svetch at 42 because I think this is his year to break out. And
I hope so.
We've seen what he's capable of. If he stays healthy, I think we'll hit that mark easily.
Brandon?
Jarvis with 40.
I like it.
Okay.
And the reason being, and that's not because I think Aho's going to fall off. It's just he's got more guys around him now he doesn't have to go out there and do it all himself. Back in 2019 when he came close to getting 40 goals, he was kind of carrying the team the entire time. He doesn't have to do that anymore. So I still think he's going to have 90-ish points, but I think the burden of goal scoring is going to transfer more over to other guys than it has been before. I think Jarvis hits 40.
Well, see, I believe that the pressure's off Aho now as much as it has been in the past, and I think that's actually going to be a good thing. We'll see.
Mm.
We'll see. I hope they all score 40 goals. All right, next one. Who will lead the team in points at the end of the season? Again, I've got Aho and 103. First 100-point season upcoming.
I got Aho, 98 points. I don't think he's there to hit 100 with the talent that he has around him.
Okay.
I also have Aho, 95 points, roughly a 40 goal, 55 assist split. and it'll be next season he starts getting 100-point seasons. That's what I think.
Okay.
I think his window for that is coming soon, and it just has to be the team around him.
All right, right on. All right, next. What are our goals and points expectations for Jackson Blake this season? So I've got 12 goals, 20 assists, 32 points for Jackson Blake.
I got 13 goals and 19 assists for 32 points.
Wow, pretty similar. Almost like we saw each other's guess.
Stop.
Almost like you filled yours in after me.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding, AB.
I was checking.
So
I'm just kidding.
Blake, I'm going to say 10 goals, 29 assists. Reason being is because Jackson Blake really likes to work in tight, and he loves to bait people in and then make that quick, make one of those quick short passes. And, he likes to use the sauce and everything like that in close and everything. Jackson Blake is a little bit more of a distributor than a shooter. So I don't think he's going to rack up a ton of goals. I think where you're going to see him get a lot of points is in assists, particularly in primary assists.
Okay. I like that. All right, next. Goals and points expectations for Shane Gostisbehere. Last season with Detroit, he had 10 goals, 46 assists for 56 points. I think he's going to score more goals, score more assists, and more points, obviously. So I've got him at 18 goals, which has been the highest by one of our defensemen named Brady Shea, right, in recent memory. So I've got him 18 goals, matching that, 52 assists for 70 points. I think we got a 70-point defenseman here.
It was close for me, but I'd say 14 goals and 54 assists for 68 points. I just don't believe that he can get that high. So, because you have a lot of good defensemen that can score. So that was my prediction.
Fair.
Yeah, right. I think 70's realistic, 68's realistic. I'm thinking more along 60 though, like I was saying before, and that's just accounting for the fact of how Carolina plays. But Gostisbehere's not going to be killing penalties. Most of his minutes are going to be 5-on-5 and on the power play. So the potential for that is definitely there.
Yeah. All right. Will we have a 40-goal scorer this season? If so, who? And I kind of already gave this away, but I think yes. I think we'll have 2 40-goal scorers. I think Aho and Jarvis are both going to be above 40 goals. And I think Svetch and Natchez will be in the low 30s, low to mid 30s.
I said Svetch and Jarvis.
Svetch and Jarvis. You don't think Aho's going to get to 40?
He's going to be close, but the assists are going to be up there.
Okay.
Beating Jarvis.
All right. Next. Go ahead, Brennan.
Jarvis, 40. Aho, close to 40, kind of like what AB was saying. And like I said before, I think Aho's going to do a 40-50 split and get about 40-55 split and get about 95 points.
That would be great to see. I would love it.
It would.
All right. Will Aho have a career year in scoring? His career high is 89 points, which was last year. His career high in goals was 38 in 2020-2021 season. But the last 3 seasons, he's had 37, 36, and 36. So the last 2 years, he had 36 goals in each of those seasons. Does he have a career high year in scoring? And again, I've already given this away, but I think yes. I think he's going to break 100 this year, 100 points. I think he's going to lead. I think he's going to set career highs in goals and points. Don't at me.
I had him at 38 goals and 60 assists for 98.
Brandon.
95. I still think he'll have 95, but either way, yes, he will have more than he had before.
Gotcha. All right. Last thing we're going to do, and then we're going to get out of here. If you listen to us last season, at the beginning of the month, AB and I always tried to look at the month ahead in the schedule and kind of identify what a successful month, quote unquote, would look like in terms of points available and points attained in that given month. So we're going to go ahead and look at the month of October, right? Because opening night is less than 48 hours away. And the current schedule for October is, again, as of now, pending any changes due to the hurricane. We've got Tampa Bay, at Tampa Bay, New Jersey at home, at Pittsburgh, at St. Louis, at Edmonton, at Calgary, at Seattle, at Vancouver, and then back home on Halloween against Boston. That's 10 games. That's 20 points available in the standings. So what is our successful month point-wise? And I'll go ahead and spoil it. AB and I, and this was by no, we didn't mean to do this. He didn't see my answer. I didn't see his. We both said 14 out of 20. And that kind of equates to a 7-3-0 record. You could say 6-2-2, 5-1-4, 4-0-6, however you want. I think those are all the combinations, but 14 points out of 20, or better, right? I think all of those, I think that's a possibility. And a lot of people expect the team to get off to a slow start, kind of like we did last year. But I think, and AB, I'll let you get to your points after this, but I believe that it will not be a rough start. You can call me a homer. You can call me whatever you want. I honestly believe.
Homer. Sorry.
I'm gonna boot you from the stage. Anyway, here's why. I don't buy the expectation that this team's going to get off to a rough start, that they're going to be so, all these losses are going to I think the organization did a very good job of bringing in players, not the same similar players, but players that can kind of take this team and make them a little bit different. And if you remember last year, there was a ton of pressure, right? There was a ton of pressure on the team. We signed the biggest free agent. And Dmitry Orlov paid him all this money. We were the cup favorites. We were the betting favorites to win the Stanley Cup at the beginning of the season. With more experience on the blue line, all this stuff, all these expectations, all this pressure to be great. And then we've quickly found out that it took the defense a minute to figure it out. Goaltending suffered. Ronta in there. There was this whole thing about, was it going to be Tony DeAngelo or was it going to be Jalen Chatfield? They put Orlov and DeAngelo together, and that was a dumpster fire. I mean, it just was. And we bled goals and got off to a super rough start. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. We've got Shane Gostisbehere coming in, who's played in this system and has done well in this system. Like you said earlier, I think that he is ready to go. Sean Walker I feel like he was made to play this type of system. And so I don't think the losses are really going to be as extreme as people believe. And I say that trying to be as objective as possible, right? Obviously, there's some subjectivity to it. I'm a fan. But, I don't think we have all these glaring issues this year that we didn't really realize at the beginning of last year that we had. Our goaltending tandem is solidified. Kochetkov and Anderson, we know who it's going to be. We're not sending Piotr to some random city in America to play for some random AHL team in Syracuse, right? He's here. He knows he's going to be here. So I just believe that take the pressure away, solidified blue line. I think the forward group is fine. I expect players to take a step forward. I expect career years out of a lot of our young forwards, the Ahos, the Jarvises, the Svetches, Natchez. I think KK improves. I think Drury improves. I expect Roslovic to fit. And I believe there's more grit and sandpaper in this lineup as well. So I just think that we are going to get off to a better start than a lot of people believe. And I think 14 of 20 points is very attainable. And I think that's your measuring stick. I think anything below that, you feel like you could have done better. Anything above that is just icing on the cake. So this team could shock the NHL, boys.
Yeah.
They could. They're not bad.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I'll say 14 out of 20 points. I mean, it's a different team that we've been used to over the past couple of years. We lost D pair in Cheyenne Pesci and a guy like Nason, and then a veteran of the team in Turbo, and then a potential a 1-2 punch with Jink Gensel. And we went on the road last year, and once we went on the road, we panicked. because I think every Canes fan thought we're not gonna make the playoffs. We'll be under 500. Everything like that. But with the new faces like Roslovic, Carrier, Walker, Robinson, and then familiar Gossespierre, it kind of feels like a 2019 team.
Yeah.
Gossespierre obviously hit over 50 points, and I don't have like any concern over that. William Carrier, again, great fit for that Stahl Martinook line, for being aggressive, being all over the ice. And then Robinson has been okay, but I would say on the solid side in the preseason. Hopefully can be a good fit for the fourth line. And then Sean Walker is only going up. And
Yeah.
he can only get better, and especially with Gossespierre on his pair. Again, that may change. Roslovic has the opportunity to have a breakout year. Former first-round pick, 25th overall, I think, by Winnipeg. And
Yeah, it was Winnipeg.
found his groove. So you have line mates like Jarvis and Aho beside him. It could maybe be a surprise. The only worry is that with the talent, are they gonna mesh with each other? And
That's any team.
who is going to get the goals in crunch time, and who's going to make the pivotal saves? Again, goaltending worries. Are you going to have Freddie carry the load, or Kochetkov? You're not going to win every game, but coming away with 14 or more points on the road trip is going to be satisfying in the end.
Yep. Yeah, so I think 14 is the mark. Brandon, I'll give you your last thoughts, and then we're going to get up out of here.
14 is good, and one of the benefits of the whole having to do the State Fair road trip thing, you get one of your toughest stretches of the season out of the way early. And historically, over the last few seasons, we've been doing really good on that stretch until last year. Right. So, like people who followed the team a few years ago, the State Fair road trip not going well, that was not an unfamiliar sight. So when the team entered the era of being good after Dundon bought them and everything, then the State Fair road trip stopped being so detrimental. So I think 14 points is very realistic for it. And one little note on Roslovic. Roslovic doesn't have to score a whole lot to be a good fit on that line. Roslovic needs to go in the corners and dig pucks out. Roslovic needs to lock down the left side of the ice. Roslovic needs to distribute it to Aho and Jarvis to let them do their thing. Yeah. If he can chip in, I imagine it'll be mostly secondary assists, which would be fine. Roslovic doesn't have to go out there and put up 30. He doesn't have to have 70 points.
Yep. Uh-oh, we lost AB again. Oh, well, we're done anyway. Yeah, I agree with what you said. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to get it going here. And I'm going to go downstairs and watch some hockey. So, Brandon.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you jumping on. Always enjoy it. You can find Brandon at The Warning Take on YouTube and X. Check him out. It's got great stuff. Got some good stuff coming out as well. And, so thank you so much for listening to session 59 of Caniac Sessions. You can watch us live on YouTube. You can check this out after the fact. And we've always got the audio version. Check it all out. Like, follow, subscribe, comment. All that good stuff. Give us a rating and review. And that's all we got. Follow us on X at Caniac Sessions, on Instagram, on TikTok, and then wherever you get your podcast and YouTube. So that's all I got. So thank you so much for listening, and y'all have a good night. Bye.